The Arizona Coyotes logo is officially on center ice at Mullett Arena. I'm going to talk about that and the rest of the week on today's episode of Locked On Coyotes.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Locked On Coyotes. I am your host, Carl Pavlock. Just going to be me for today's episode. Robin, unfortunately, was working right now. Couldn't get anything recording schedule-wise. And, it's a Monday. We figured that we should have a show out for you. Make sure that you have something for your morning commute because we do want to thank you for making Locked On Coyotes your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk to you about something. There was one big story over the weekend that definitely should be addressed. And yeah, it's going to be that and a little bit of talk about the upcoming week. Just to kind of make sure that you have a good idea. This is going to be a very interesting week for the Coyotes. It's the first home game later this week, so that's where we're going to start with Mullett Arena. The Mullett Arena is going to be getting their first NHL game. They've already had ASU hockey, both men's and women's play at Mullett Arena. This is going to be their first time with the Arizona Coyotes. And a big question that came up around the middle of May this past year was, what is the logo situation going to be at Mullett Arena? Details of the contract got out, and by that I mean they were publicly available and something that Craig Morgan had previously reported on, but Canadian outlets picked up the fact that, hey, there is provisions in there that the Coyotes cannot change the center ice logo unilaterally. Like, they can make changes to it, but ASU needs to agree to it, which is just, not at all unexpected, but people treated that very weirdly. People like to act like NHL teams should be like the biggest factor in any sort of deal, when more often than not, that is not the case. Like, these are businesses and universities that have everything tied up and they require certain approval. And Mullett Arena and ASU were just like, hey, don't change the logo like by yourself. We want to make sure that it's something appropriate for the school. I doubt the Coyotes would ever do something inappropriate, but everyone involved likes to cover themselves. Like, this is ASU. They have a law school. They have enough lawyers to be like, yeah, we're definitely going to get this down. So there was questions on whether or not there would be a Coyotes logo. The Kachina logo now, since that's what they're primarily using, I guess they could have gone with just the Kachina head. I believe they've done that in the past. That would have looked okay. But yeah, questions emerged. We got a lot of stories in the span of a couple weeks back in May, basically asking that question. What is the logo going to look like? And now we know. We got to see just a pure ASU logo. Didn't necessarily cause as much of a freak out this time, which you'd think would be the case. But I guess since there was already a story debunking it, no one necessarily cared as much. But earlier today, Sunday when I'm recording, Craig Morgan got to tweet out a picture. It is the ASU Arizona Coyotes logos. I am not able to show the YouTube people, but I'm just going to describe it. On the left side, you got the ASU pitchfork. On the right side, Coyotes Kachina logo. It says Mullett Arena, both at the top and the bottom. I believe the 4 ads around Gila River Resorts and Casino, Dos Equis, Cox Business, sure. And I believe that's uh, Arizona Credit Union, maybe. I don't know. I can't see the fourth one. It's at a weird angle. Um, who cares? They're not sponsoring us, so I don't feel the need to plug them completely. But it's a pretty standard NHL center ice. Some people have actually brought up the fact that they like the two logos as opposed to one giant logo. I admit for pretty much every team where they don't have like a symmetrical logo, I think that kind of works best. But I also really liked seeing the giant Kachina logo. You know, there's different pieces. I really like the moon logo too. The moon logo at center ice, very nice. Love that as a throwback. But yeah, no, this is kind of what we've expected, what anyone should have expected, a partnership between ASU and the Arizona Coyotes, both logos being represented. ASU gets free advertisement for their program, um, in school and just everything. And the Coyotes have their logo at center ice, showing that there's a partnership. It's beautiful when you look at it. Um, since ASU has been the topic of conversation for myself this week, personally, I thought the reverse retro looked like ASU jerseys. We brought that up on one of the episodes, but it did remind me that when I first started at ASU, they were still using the old like baby devil logo, which I just kind of love. Like, and also that feels like a very like classic 90s logo. It'd be great if for like a or like a retro night, a 90s night, they just change that up a bit, use the 90s ASU logo. Oh, that'd be beautiful. I would love that. And see, this is a good reason why Robin's not on because she doesn't like it when I gush too much about ASU. Gotta love that Arizona State College rivalry. But yeah, it looks perfectly fine. It's something that we've come to expect a lot where you see a report from, a Canadian news outlet or see something on Twitter and it's very hyperbolic. It sounds like something is not going to happen. And you basically need to, like, when they do actually like show words or quotes or like, a piece of the agreement, you have to take it in the worst possible context for their to like understand where their interpretation is from. Like, yeah, it makes sense that a building owner, especially a college, like a very risk adverse kind of thing, would be like, don't do things without our approval. I get that the Coyotes are big because they're a professional hockey team. You know, any professional hockey team is on like a next level, but it's still like ASU is an institution in Arizona. They don't want to have their brand messed up. And, these are paranoid people who make sure that things are included in the contract. And, that's exactly what we saw. Anyways, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this and kind of go through what the Coyotes' first week is going to be. But I do just have one quick message. The numbers don't lie. In the last decade, over 4 million people have chosen Simply Safe Home Security to protect their home. You don't earn the trust of that many people without doing something right. At Simply Safe, your safety is the only thing that matters. I know because I've used Simply Safe in my own home. They'll protect you with cutting edge security technology powered by 24/7 professional monitoring agents who always have your back. And here's why I love it. I live in Phoenix. It's not exactly the best neighborhood, but I just like that added level of security, knowing that I have something that could potentially avert a break in or have that kind of monitoring in there with 24 professional. I can have agents call me the moment a threat is detected. Um, and, if something's hurt, they can get out first responders. What I want you to do is go and you can customize your perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/lockedonnhl. You can save 20% on your SimpliSafe security system when you sign up for an interactive monitoring plan and get your first month free. Visit simplysafe.com/lockedonnhl to learn more. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. And I do want to just say thanks for making Locked On Coyotes your first listen today. And now, when you're getting ready for your second listen, I want you to check out Game to Game NHL for every moment, every top performance, every result. Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across the NHL with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On NHL, available on the Audacy app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And everyone, back with the episode. Carl Pavlak, again, just going to be me for today. The Coyotes' first road trip is about to end. They have one more game coming up. They're going to be playing the Columbus Blue Jackets, who surprisingly not doing too good. I don't know what I expected of the Blue Jackets. I expected them to be doing a little bit better. But they have, a 3-4-0 record. They just beat the New York Rangers 5-1. So that's a lot. You know, not doing too good in the conference, but I think that's mostly just because they've played more games. There's a lot of teams who have won 3, but also, the extra points really helping out the Hurricanes and the Rangers. Definitely not going to be an easy game. About that, but after that, after Tuesday, the Coyotes finally return home from their 6-game road trip, and they are going to host the Winnipeg Jets at Mullett Arena. Really the perfect team to host there. There's definitely been news out that it's not going to be an easy night for the Winnipeg Jets, just in terms of kind of having everything set up. It's not going to be there yet. Things happen. You gotta roll with the punches. I have definitely been to offices. I have been on conferences, and you just kind of like go in. And you're like, "Is this it?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's supposed to be better. It's not ready yet." And sure, you just kind of gotta deal with that. So feel sorry for the Winnipeg Jets, but not too much. Should be a really good game. Just kind of from what I've seen from Mullett Arena, because as I mentioned, there are hockey games being played there with ASU. It looks like just a phenomenal environment, and you know, I, I love the idea of seeing a game at Mullett Arena. I love the first game being the Winnipeg Jets because there's that just consistent rivalry between the Coyotes and the Jets. Um, what I don't love is the Coyotes' play lately, and I do have a feeling that that is going to just absolutely spoil any kind of like inaugural game at Mullett Arena. Um, you know, I don't think people are going to have too many happy memories of Mullett Arena until the very end. It's going to be a very cool experience, but if you're going to watch hockey, you're not going to see a lot of good hockey from the home team until maybe the third year that the Coyotes are there. Just kind of where they're at with the rebuild, but things have been especially bad. I don't know if you got this weekend's episode where we broke down the Arizona Coyotes loss to the Ottawa Senators. It was a lot of what we've come to expect from the Coyotes this year, with the added goal of just another collapse. And I just hate it. And yeah, I think that is going to be key because you want to put things off on the right foot. And the Coyotes are going to be at home for the first time. They're going to have 2 days rest. They have 2 days rest, between Ottawa and Columbus. So, at that time, you can center yourself. You can work on, the areas of the game that you need to improve on, which for the Coyotes is just everything. Everything short of the power play needs to be worked on. They need to get better 5-on-5. They need to get better starting. They need to get better finishing. Need to get better playing to the whistle. They need better goaltending. They need better defense. They need more offense. They need everything. Um, and do I think they're going to be able to get all that by Friday? No, absolutely not. They are not going to be a good team. They're not going to be the team that I want to see open up and play their first game at Mullett Arena. But you know, what are you going to do? You gotta support the team that's there. You gotta play with the people who you have. Um, this is definitely one of those things where looking at the Coyotes, I'm not sure if there's too many changes that can be made. One of the things that is becoming definitely a bigger possibility is maybe a change in defensemen. Maybe send Dyson Mayo down and bring up someone, maybe Soderstrom. Uh, I'm not entirely sure how that's going to work. Hang on, let me pull up. Okay, so if Coyotes were to send Dyson Mayo down, he would need to clear waivers. Just want to make sure the only player who's not waiver eligible is Yanis Mosier, and Yanis Mosier's game against the Ottawa Senators was one of the bright spots. The man just has a level of confidence you would not expect from a 22-year-old defenseman. Yanis Mosier, Coyotes, he is just willing to do that so good. So yeah, you don't want to send him down. Um, I think Mayo is the person who makes that trip down. If you send anyone, and you know, do I think that someone would claim Dyson Mayo if he were put on waivers? My gut says no. He seems like a player who I don't think you're going to necessarily get a change of scenery vibe off of him if you're another GM. I think you kind of get what you get, but there are plenty of desperate teams. I don't know if there are teams who are desperate to steal defensemen from the Coyotes. That seems like a level of desperate that I would never want to experience as an NHL GM. But yeah, so who knows? The deal isn't horrible. It's just I don't necessarily think he's adding much right now, um, and I don't want to throw him under the bus because outside of Mosier and Gossesbear, the rest of the blue line has not looked great. Uh, the goaltending has not looked great, and it's not really clear how much of that is the team in front of them versus the goaltending itself. But the Coyotes have given up 6 goals in all but one game. And I mean, you got to put a little bit of that on the goaltending. It's not wholly their responsibility, but it's definitely there. Like I said, the only good thing that the team has going for them is the power play. So maybe we can get a few amazing power play opportunities. Dylan Guenther is still with the team. He got his first NHL goal against the Senators. He is going to be in that 9-game window by the time Friday's game comes around. So if you are an Arizona Coyotes fan, you could see the future of the team, Dylan Guenther, one of the big pieces of the rebuild at Mullett Arena for the opening game. And I guess if everything else is horrible with the game, you still have that. Like, they can't take that away from you. It's going to be a pretty low attendance thing just because there's not a lot of seats. If you could be one of the people who was there, it's a cool thing to claim. Um, I remember hearing a story about the last game that the Winnipeg Jets 1.0 played. And it was the player telling the story. He's like, yeah, I get people come up to me. So many people say that they're at that last game. And there are more people who have said that than could fit at that arena. Um, and hey, maybe seeing Dylan Gunther play for the Coyotes at the opening of Mullett Arena, this weird 3 to maybe 4 year experience, maybe there'll be more people who say that they were there than could fit the arena. That'd be cool. Anyways, that's gonna be it. Hope you enjoyed listening to this one. Like I said, fortunately scheduling couldn't work out, so it's just me. Uh, Solo episodes tend to be a little bit more rambly, but yeah, I wanted to talk about the arena. I wanted to talk about those really lame articles from about last May, and the fact that we got pictures now kind of shows like, yeah, it was all smoke. It was all just overblown. But that's going to do it for us. Make sure to follow the podcast wherever you follow podcasts. Do you prefer podcast app to listen to us? Watch us on YouTube, subscribe, like, do all of the things. They really do help. Every single podcast you listen to tells you to do things. Just do those. Follow the podcast, LO_Coyotes. You can follow me on Twitter at Carl Pavlak FFH. But hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you're staying healthy. Hope you're getting ready for this upcoming week of just 2 games. I like the shorter weeks, but stay safe out there and don't forget to howl on.